Greetings. Hello again. I am the New World Order. In the Book of Kings, we read the story of Rehoboam, Solomon's son. Everybody knows who Solomon was. He's this great king that lived. Ancient history in the land of Israel was very wise. Anyway, Rehoboam was to be the next king of Israel. So the people came to him and they said, "Your father Solomon made our yoke heavy. Now therefore, lighten the burdensome service of your father, and the heavy yoke he put on us, and we will serve you." So Rehoboam said to them, "Depart for 3 days, then come back to me." Now then Rehoboam talked to his advisors, and 3 days later he answered the people, and this is what he told them. "My father made your yoke heavy, but I will add to your yoke. My father chastised you with whips, but I will chastise you with scourges." So he was going to make things worse when the people were asking him to make things a little bit lighter, a little better. So what did the people do? They rebelled. They appointed another man their king, and the nation was split in two. Rehoboam ended up being king over Judah, which tribe he belonged to. Solomon was the son of David, which was the tribe of Judah. Anyway, Rehoboam had the tribe of Judah and the tribe of Benjamin left to him, but the other 10 tribes of the 12 formed the nation of Israel, and they appointed Jeroboam to be king over them. So they rebelled. And after they split, it said that King Rehoboam sent Adoram, who was in charge of the revenue, or in charge of taxes, and he sent him to Israel, but it said all Israel stoned him with stones. So even though this happened about 3,000 years ago, we see that even in those days, it was clear that the entire issue of government was about taxes, greed, money, and control. Now, these young advisors who Rehoboam had talked to come up with an answer for the people, they're the ones who advised him to make the yoke heavier. In other words, Solomon had taxed the people very heavily because he had built a temple and he built cities, all these public works, as we would say. Well, his advisors wanted Rehoboam to collect even more revenue. They were just greedy. They were in control of the taxes, of the money. So the moral of the story is this. What the elites intend to do is to make our burden here in this country as heavy as they can until we become a broken people. They're using Obama as a stooge just like they used Bush. Neither Obama nor Bush have any ideas of their own. They're just actors on a stage. There's no such thing as an independent politician in this country anymore. They are bought and sold, lock, stock, and barrel by the elites in this country. That's obvious. That should be obvious to anybody who's lived in America in the last 4 years. But imagine Obama making Bush look like Solomon by comparison. Imagine Bush looking like a genius compared to Obama after what's going to happen in the next 4 years if the elites have their way. And it seems to me that there is no one in this country that is willing to stand up to the elites at all. There is no one who represents the people in this country. And we are on our way to becoming a completely broken nation. Now you notice in those days, if the people didn't like what their leader said, they rebelled. And today, but in those days, people today are different. In those days, people weren't hypnotized and brainwashed by the TV like they are today. And they aren't pacified by Prozac and all types of drugs that just lobotomize people's minds these days. So when their leaders threatened to make them all slaves, they rebelled. And they had a leader, which is another thing we do not have today in this country, is a real, true leader. They made Jeroboam their king. Well, who among us is qualified to lead us? I know in this entire country, I know of one, maybe two men who I think would be qualified to lead this country. One of them is Ron Paul. I believe he's an honest man, but of course he's completely ignored by the elite media in this country. Now, as for the people, how many of us would be willing to actually revolt in order to change the government under which we live? Personally, I don't know if we have, as a people, if we have what it takes to survive. The people have become sheeple. We walk around blinded and dazed as if we cannot see what's plainly happening in our country. The one-worlders have stupefied this country to the point where we are paying for our own bondage, our own chains. So my conclusion is that only God himself can help us now. We're no match for the elite. They've seized almost total control of the government, the military, the media, the education system, and of course the economy of this country through the Federal Reserve and other means. And they own Wall Street. So if we are going to have a chance to turn things around in this country, we are going to need the help of a higher power, and it's time that the people in this country woke up to this fact. And it's time that we turn back to the God that our forefathers believed in and founded, and by his laws and by his word founded the laws of this country upon. Peace. I'm the New World Order.